So the next kind of step in the master plan process is we look at our facility requirements. So we had our vision, our forecast, everything. So now we take that information and we start looking at what we have and what we're going to need to meet the forecast demand. And so in that process, Robert mentioned that we had significant critical deficiencies in our terminal and our landside facilities. And so these couple items here are the largest, the critical elements that we identified. And as you can see from the right there, our ticketing check-in area, our front lobby there, currently we have about 7,700 square feet. And right out the gate, planning activity level 1, where we were in 2019, we're already deficient in our space needs at 11,200 square feet. Our check baggage inspection systems, again, all of these, similar story, significant spatial deficiencies in these. Our security screening checkpoints are approximately half the size that they need to be currently. One other point to make about the security screening checkpoints is we currently have 3, and in the industry, the most efficient configuration for security screening is a centralized checkpoint. So we have ours kind of segmented into 3 different areas. The most efficient would be one single larger security screening checkpoint. Our gate waiting areas also are undersized, and then our gates, we're a couple gates short as well. So that's the terminal side. If you look at our land side, again, significant deficiencies here on our land side. Our curb configuration, right now our dwell times out on the curb are approximately, our consultant analyzed how long people wait out there and all of that to see how it affected the congestion. And it was approximately 4 to 5 minutes, I believe, was the dwell time that they calculated. National norms are significantly lower than that. So that was one issue about enforcement and our operations out on the roadway itself. However, moving on to the actual configuration of the roadway, as I'm sure you all know, our roadway is kind of configured in a V formation, and that shows that, like, when a car comes up, that folks can't see down the curb to see if there's more space available, so they kind of wait there at the front. So right out the gate there, that the configuration itself lends to those longer dwell times. So revised roadway system was identified as a major need. Increase the distance between the airport entrance and the terminal. Eliminate the congestion on 237 actually entering into our campus. We all know if you're driving in that area, there's a lot of different lanes crossing all over the place. And then there's our inbound traffic signals as soon as you get on our campus as well. All lend to that congestion right there in our roadway system. Improve walkability and convenience of our ground transportation center. We're currently working on that right now. We need to add additional walkable parking spaces, public parking spaces. We need more rental car storage spaces, and we need to improve the RTA accessibility and convenience as well. Next slide, please.
There's a hand raised. Councilwoman Spencer, did you have a point of clarification or question?
Mr. Chair, I can hold my questions if you'd like, or I however you recommend proceeding. I did have questions about the terminal slide.
Let's hold that question because I know they're going to be coming with a couple concepts. So thank you.
Okay, so part of the master plan as well is, we need to look at our own facilities, and the master plan doesn't get too deep into the regional transportation system. However, we do need to address it in some capacity, and we need to identify how the regional roadway system would tie into our campus if there were any changes to be made. So we looked at a few different concepts on how our campus interacts with the regional roadway system. The top right there and the bottom right there were a few concepts that we explored. Ultimately, though, we ended on our preferred alternative will end up being this Regional Access Concept 3. And this is a direct connection from Interstate 71, a revised interchange that would provide an elevated roadway system tying directly into our campus. This would eliminate airport traffic on State Route 237. And to get to this concept, this alternative being our preferred alternative, we did form what we called a regional transportation subcommittee. We had folks from ODOT, NOACA, all the local municipalities, several stakeholder groups, and much of that transportation subcommittee was in support of this Regional Access Concept 3. One other stat I'll leave you with this on is that approximately 95% of airports in the country, similar size to us or larger, have a configuration just like this, where they have a direct connection to a major interstate. We're in that 5% group that we're tied into more of a state route or a local route, and so this is the majority of how campuses and facilities like us are tied into regional roadway system. So that all led to this being chosen as the preferred alternative for the regional access. Next slide, please. Another part of the master plan, we do look at all of our other, we call them other facilities. This would include our general aviation, our airline maintenance, our cargo facilities, corporate aviation, all these other facilities that aren't our terminal, our landside, and that some of our tenants utilize. And so there's a lot put into this as well. But the overall summary of where we ended up with these other facilities is we do have some deficiencies in these areas as well. But the solution to these is that we need to better utilize our existing land that we have. Currently, our layout of how our campus is arranged isn't set up in the most efficient manner. So utilization of the space we have is key to moving forward and having a very efficient facility and campus. Next slide, please. So with that, I'll turn it over to our planning manager, Nick Belluardo, and he's going to talk about some of the more technical aspects and alternatives. Go ahead, Nick.
Thank you, Chief. So this is where the master plan really got fun. When we got to look at what is the future going to be for Cleveland Hopkins, and we started this. We started with that justification, why we need to do it. We went into the vision of some guiding principles that we want to carry through it, and then we took that snapshot in time. What is the airport today? And based on our forecast, where are we going, and what do we need based on those forecasts? So that gave us the building blocks that we could start fitting together in terms of terminal size and capacities and capability of our facilities. And so we started with 6 families here, and they vary greatly. And we started with these 6, and it was kind of an unrestricted view of what we can do here. Then we were able to narrow it down to family 1, 2, and 6, and we looked at those 3 families in a little bit more detail. Once we looked at family 6, and financial feasibility, it was maybe just outside our capability, and so we really narrowed in on family 1 and 2 and went into great detail into those. Some other factors that went into play here, like in family 4, well, it looks like a great facility there. Excuse me. We've also looked at constructability. We have to keep this airport open and operational during these improvements. So again, we came into family 1 and family 2, and those are what I'm going to share with you here. Family 1, largely focused on renovation as opposed to new concourses. It includes renovation of Concourse D, an above-ground walkway connector that will then allow passengers to access the Concourse D. We looked at the tunnel that goes beneath the ramp. However, it does offer a fairly low customer service. And the new concourse here is really only Concourse B, which is one of our older facilities dating all the way back to the late 1950s and 60s in their initial build and improvements. Dennis mentioned earlier about the access road coming in our Landside drop-off line. And this straightens that out by essentially connecting the 2 corners of our terminal building. Versus when we look at family 2, this extends one of the legs of our current terminal. And over time, this terminal does get replaced. So in family 2, the difference is one concourse here gets renovated, and that would be concourse A, with the addition of new concourse B, C, D, and E. And E is a very critical part here. If we look at concourse E as a future development, and that builds capacity, our gate capacity, that we need to later shut down one half of concourse B, so that we can construct that future concourse. So that goes into a little bit of phasing here, but this is the ultimate build out of what Cleveland Hopkins will look like. We ultimately settled upon family 2 as our preferred alternative, with a lot of the comments already made here, and we'll get into some numbers in just a moment, but family 2 has a lower construction cost initially in these initial planning phases that matches up well with our debt structure and our retirement of debt in the years to come. And when we looked at the level of service it provides, operational efficiency, and long-term maintenance, family 2 came out ahead.